It says a lot about the current state of film criticism that people saw that the Super Mario Galaxy got a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes and immediately decided in unison, altogether, that this means that it's a good movie. Because critics have demonstrated several times over the past several years that they are unreliable, that they are pushing agendas, that they hate films, they hate masculine role model characters, they hate movies like this, and would prefer you to watch some gay shit like, Lightyear or Hoppers. And that's the trend that we keep seeing when it comes to movies, especially animated movies, is that a lot of the best films get downplayed and buried while these really bad ones, these abominations keep getting glazed and worshipped. The current state of Hollywood is very, very interesting because good films are still getting made, they're still getting produced, they're pulling in a lot of money, but you will never hear that from the critics because the critics, their primary purpose is to influence culture. Their entire purpose is to normalize degeneracy, to normalize bad values, to normalize divorce, to normalize anti-religious sentiments, to normalize woke propaganda. Essentially, that's what they've always been doing. They've been doing this since the Roger Cisco and Ebert days, right? This is nothing new. This is nothing that's come out of nowhere. It's something that we do have to address. This is a movie that's probably going to outgross the original. It's probably going to outgross every single Disney movie this year, including the upcoming Toy Story 5. This is a very big threat to the Hollywood power structure, and they know that. The original Super Mario Bros. Movie is something that they could not bury, no matter how hard they tried, and now they're going in full force with the propaganda, with the bad reviews, trying to bury this before it comes out. And unfortunately, this is probably something that's going to make upwards of $1.5 billion. Like, I think it's very possible this could crack 2 billion, honestly. This is a cultural phenomenon now, and the film industry is losing all of their power and control. Like, it's been noted by the community for a long while that video games have been way more influential and popular than films for decades. But Hollywood is still behind the times and still believes that they actually influence culture or popular opinion. They think that they're bigger than Nintendo. And what we're seeing here is not only does Nintendo make more money than Hollywood, not only do they have more recognizable characters, not only do they produce better films, produce better products, they're also making better movies. They're also building better franchise films. They're actually doing more for the actors. They're actually doing more for the industry than most of these activist Hollywood executives. The simple fact of the matter is people like Bob Iger have spent the past 10, 15 years trying to push woke culture onto Americans, trying their hardest to like increase diversity, to destroy white people, to destroy popular culture. And then you have Nintendo who are just making good movies. The difference is rather striking, and I think there is going to be a very, very shocking realization when the mainstream realizes that Nintendo brands, not just Mario and Pokemon, but Zelda, Pikmin, Splatoon, and even Star Fox and Metroid, are far more popular and are iconic than what we're supposed to like. Things like James Cameron's Avatar or Marvel or like the Disney films, Star Wars, Star Trek, Warhammer 40K. Like, Nintendo clears all of that. And the situation we're in now, like when we're seeing like how people are acting and how they're behaving, and this has been very apparent since the previous Mario movie, is that they can't handle it. Because once the Mario movie clears everything else that exists in the space, there will be no damage controlling this. Do you really think people are going to remember Avatar, Fire and Ash like 5 years from now? Like, nobody went to go see that when that came out. Okay, I straight up don't believe that the numbers, the box office numbers are real. And if they are, people just went to go see them for the visuals. Like, those movies do not have the same cultural impact that the Super Mario Bros. Movie has. Like, these are going to be films that people watch for decades. They're going to be childhood classics. People are watching like the old Super Mario Bros. Super shows again. Like, again, the simple fact of the matter is Mario has transcended the rest of the entertainment industry, and it's bigger than pretty much anything else out there. You know, And what we're seeing now is just the wailings of a dying political establishment. We're seeing people, Hollywood critics, lose their power and control. And we're reaching the point where there aren't even any movies that are being produced for them to shill anymore because everything they back, everything they support, nobody goes to see. Nobody cares about what the critics think. The critics cannot sell people on bad products, and they cannot keep people away from good products. And this is a big problem for them and has been for a long time. And, traditionally it's been written off as just like, oh, well, critics just know more. Critics are just smarter than normal people. Critics know better than audiences. But more and more people are looking at the critics and realizing that these people are just straight up propagandists and should not be trusted. People are looking at the reviews of this movie and realizing that, like, wow, this Mario movie has a lot of references to other Nintendo products. Like, again, people throw the term commercial around about it, but I'm just like, it's a brand based on a pre-existing identity. Of course they're going to have like lots of characters. Of course they're going to have crossovers. Of course they're going to do all this stuff. Like, I don't understand the mindset among film critics who don't know the characters, who don't play the games, who go to these movies and are just like, oh man, this film, it doesn't explain who any of these characters are. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's just like, do you think maybe that you're not the audience for this, that you don't understand it, that you don't understand like what they're trying to do with these movies and like, who exactly it's appealing to? Like, we are allowing film critics to dictate what like the general audience, you know, uh should find appealing. And it's something that I find like straight up abhorrent. If you really think about it, like, critics at their core are telling you what to think about products. Like, they don't let you have your own opinion. You're uneducated. You're not a film critic, so like your take doesn't matter. Like, the entire purpose of them is to control what the public thinks about certain things. But as the public becomes more and more aware of the agenda that film critics are trying to push, more and more they start to notice certain buzzwords and trends that just make people not take them seriously. Like, take, for example, this excerpt from a review I found: late stage capitalism, a loaded term. Essentially, what she's saying is that the movie is commercialized because it's based on a video game. So again, these critics aren't talking about the film itself. They're making like basic observations about the fact that this movie is based on a pre-existing concept, a pre-existing game, has elements from those games, incorporates them into the plot, and creates its own original thing about it. This is not a complicated concept, and yet, like, the film critic tries to be overly cynical about it and tries to say this movie only exists to make money, and that like the people working on it didn't care about it, and that they didn't put any effort into it, and that it doesn't mean anything. And this is a mindset that we really should be dead set against. Okay, of course this film is going to make money. Of course the people behind it are passionate. Like, again, the real underlying complaint here, it has nothing to do with the movie. It's essentially the author, the reviewer, complaining about the film not catering to her political agenda. Like, that's it. That becomes very obvious if you look at any of these initial negative reviews, is that people are upset that this is a product of capitalism and is somehow going to destroy society. Yeah, I'm sure these film critics with their cushy jobs are struggling under capitalism. It's very telling. So it's again, this is the problem. Like, this kind of thing demonstrates the mindset that film critics are in and why they can't be taken seriously under any circumstances. Is that these individuals are sitting there whining about capitalism instead of talking about what actually happens in the movie. The visual quality, the story, the characters, like, none of that matters apparently, because like, well, like, this is a commercial product for filthy capitalists. Long live Stalin. Like, that is their mindset. That is seriously how they're going about criticizing this movie, because it doesn't have a political agenda, because it doesn't have any gay characters, because it doesn't because a female character gets kidnapped in it. This movie is a problem in their eyes. And this is why we absolutely need to speak out about the critics now. Before the movie hits theaters, before anybody like sees these reviews or cares about them, like we need to discredit this nonsense now. This is not something that anybody should be taking seriously.